Hi everybody, I'm Dave Kaufman. I'm here right now in Bangkok, Thailand. It is swelteringly hot down here, but this is the quintessential herper's paradise. It's a city of over 9 million people, and it's a constant battle between urban civilization and nature trying to reclaim what's hers. So myself, Jeff LeClaire, and Mike Pingleton are gonna go herp Bangkok, so come and join us here on Zilla Presents Herpers TV.
I'm a herper, I'm a herper, I'm a herper, and I like it.
The Bangkok metropolitan area occupies over 1,600 square kilometers. Over 22% of the country's population lives here. While the city itself has a population of 9 million people, over 14 million people live within the Bangkok metropolitan region. Bangkok is one of the world's top tourist destinations with almost 16 million visitors per year. Bangkok is known for its street vendors. Everything one could possibly want can be found on any street corner or market in the city. Whether it be authentic Thai cuisine or household or personal items. In the last 30 years, the city grew faster than its infrastructure, leading to massive congestion and traffic. It is home to some of the country's oldest temples. This one, Wat Po, or Temple of the Reclining Buddha, traces its origins back over 350 years. It is home to more than 1,000 Buddha images, as well as one of the largest single Buddha statues at 150 feet in length, depicting the position Buddha was in when he reached nirvana. We began our adventures in the western fringe of the city in the vast seas of rice paddies that the region is so known for. Herps congregate around these areas and frogs and toads use them for breeding grounds. And in the dense vegetation that borders the paddies, we were not to be disappointed. The oriental garden lizard is an agamid lizard that proved to be quite common. Like chameleons, they can move each of their eyes in different directions. In certain regions, they were given the name bloodsucker because males adopt a deep red color to the throat and neck during the breeding season. Another resident was the very common Asian toad, or black spectacled toad, as some specimens have black crests on their head. These large toads were everywhere in Bangkok. We even saw a few in the gardens in downtown. Our first snake of the trip was the also common green vine snake. The reptile normally feeds on frogs and lizards using its binocular vision to hunt. The green vine snake is diurnal and mildly venomous, but it's of no danger to humans. There is a tall tale in southern India that the species uses its pointed head to blind its human victims, although I'm not sure how a small slender snake like this can be any threat to a human. This frog is in the family of shrub frogs. Females deposit from 100 to 400 eggs in oval-shaped foam nests. After 3 to 4 days, the tadpoles drop from the foam nest into the water below. The tadpoles are fierce predators, attacking and consuming nearly anything they can, even other tadpoles. Our journey then led us back to a suburban park just behind our hotel that we briefly checked out the night before when we arrived. During the day, we saw 4 species of turtles, including this, the Southeast Asian box turtle. Popular in captivity, the numbers of these semi-aquatic turtles have declined in the wild due to various superstitions in Chinese medicine and are used extensively as a gourmet food in other parts of the Orient. Considering this, we were very fortunate to have seen them in the wild. The Malayan snail-eating turtle has earned its name as its diet is almost entirely made up of snails. The Malayan snail-eating turtle has a large head and strong jaws which enables it to crush the shells of snails. The yellow-headed temple turtle is one of the largest freshwater turtles in Southeast Asia, with shells measuring up to almost 20 inches. Yellow-headed temple turtles are much more common in Bangkok's parks and ponds as they are in their native environment. And of course, we can't go anywhere in the world without seeing these invasive turtles.
They're all sliders. They're all sliders. They can't take the heat. Look at that. Those are all sliders. There's like, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, those are sliders.
7. At least 7 of them sitting under there.
Look at that.
They're all sliders.
That's funny. Wow, that is funny.
The edible frog is the largest frog in the Bangkok area and are the most commonly eaten frog in Thailand. They are larger than the American bullfrog and seem to fear nothing, allowing me to come within inches to film them. They are an incredibly successful amphibian because they have a tolerance of a range of habitats, including some of the most stagnant, polluted ponds in the region. They also have a wide distribution, covering China and the entire Siam Peninsula. As we took a break from herping in the hot midday sun, we walked across the street from the park to the local market for lunch, and there, we saw firsthand why these are known as edible frogs. Though they are often collected for food, their populations appear to be able to handle the current level of exploitation, so much so that the IUCN, or International Union for Conservation of Nature, lists them as a species of least concern. After lunch, we walked back to the park and witnessed something truly incredible. People had gathered at the pond to feed the turtles, as some do with ducks elsewhere in the world. The Buddha teaches, the only thing worthy of you is compassion, invincible, limitless, and unconditional. Compassion is a mind that is motivated by cherishing other living beings and wishes to release them from their suffering, which in this case is as simple as feeding the turtles vegetation that they would never be able to access on their own. But here in Thailand, people not only show compassion for all living things, but teach their children to respect and have compassion for all living beings. In all my journeys around the world, this was one of the most beautiful displays I had yet seen. At night is when Bangkok truly comes to life. The markets are in full swing and the nightlife erupts in roadside bars that during the day appear abandoned. As we returned to the rice paddies, we were greeted by dueling karaoke from two bars next to each other, each with the volumes turned up to outcompete each other. And in the midst of the off-key singing, the frogs and toads called out in perfect tune. Like this one, the rice field frog. Also called the Asian grass frog, this is a taxonomic nightmare as the group of frogs is actually several different species that look similar to each other, but are genetically unique and do not interbreed. This striking green paddy frog gets its bright color from a combination of yellow and blue pigments in the skin. When the xanthophores or yellow pigment is reduced, the frog can appear to be a bright blue color. These little frogs, no bigger than the top of your thumb, can live up to 5 years in the wild. That's a ripe old age for any frog species to live in the wild. Of all the amphibians we encountered in the city, this was my favorite, the Asian painted frog. These beauties were always on the move, and we had to find several of them before we found one who would sit still long enough for us to photograph him. All over the city, on every wall and lamppost and tree trunk, hemidactylid geckos were thick and common, and there was a number of different species here in the city, but identifying them on the spot in the field was a bit problematic.
What do you say he is, Hefe? Oh, he's gone.
The following day, we went downtown and spent the day filming the previous episode of Herpers TV at the snake farm. Then as evening arrived, we traveled to the extreme southern district of Bangkok for some true urban herping at night.
Come on out.
Nice. Yeah, he looks like a wolf to me.
Yeah, he looks like a wolf. Yeah. Ow! I'm just a Lycodon.
I'm not liking this Don right now.
So he was just on the bank? He was next to those shrubs, just foraging around. Just cruising around looking for something to eat or bite or whatever. Come big do the wolf snakes get? A yard long?
Yeah.
Would you call this a sub-adult or a
Yeah, this
juvenile?
one's like a juvenile.
Put it as sub-adult.
Whatever.
Thought maybe they got 30 inches or something. I wasn't sure.
One of the species we really wanted to see, we had only previously seen glimpses of and heard them calling throughout the city. And there they were, one of the most recognizable geckos in herpetoculture. It's one thing to see and hear them, it's another to get them to sit still long enough for a good photo. The tokay gecko is one of the largest gecko species in the world, and they are fierce predators, eating almost anything they can overpower, including other geckos. After seeing them for years in captivity, it was just amazing to finally see them in their natural habitat, even if it was under a bridge in the middle of a major metropolitan area. The following morning found us racing three-wheeled taxis called tuk-tuks through the busy streets of Bangkok. We were on our way to a place that we had been told we simply couldn't miss if we wanted to see one of the top herps on our wish list for the trip. And when we arrived, we were simply amazed at what we saw. Here, surrounded by miles and miles of urban civilization and sprawl, Asian water monitors had made themselves right at home. Ask any local where to see wild reptiles in the city and they will tell you to go to Lumpini Park. Named for the birthplace of the Buddha, this park is 142 acres of natural beauty that at the time of its creation in the 1920s, it stood on the outskirts of the city. Today it lies in the heart of the main business district of Bangkok, and as the city grew around it, the monitors remained here and are now a permanent fixture of the park. Although we saw monitors elsewhere in the city, no other place had a population like this. They were like the squirrels in any city park in the US, and they were just as common. The monitors have everything they need in the park. Protection, plenty of food, soft dirt banks for nest building, everything to provide them with a good, long, stable life. As Jeff and I tried to get the perfect photos and to see how close they'd let us get to them, Mike had suddenly disappeared somewhere in the park. The park is also home to red-eared sliders, of course, but also natives such as snail-eating turtles and yellow-headed temple turtles. This one in particular we watched get himself stuck in a culvert until Jeff came to the rescue. We still couldn't find Mike. As the turtle seemed to give his thanks, I happened to look across the pond and suddenly found Mike and his innovative discovery on how to better see the monitors around the park.
This is an Asian water monitor here in downtown Bangkok. And like in captivity, they have bad sheds in the wild too. But even the wild type, they're just as calm as they are in captivity. What a beautiful, beautiful creature. Just absolutely chill, just sitting on my arm. And here in downtown Bangkok, we are catching one of the coolest lizards known to herpetoculture.
How incredibly awesome is this? Bangkok is the jewel of the Orient. It is the largest city in Southeast Asia, and it is just absolutely incredible to see the species diversity right within the urban areas. So be sure to tune in and subscribe as we bring you more episodes from here in Thailand. And we will see you then here on Zilla Presents Herpers TV.